Ever wonder what guides the daily lives of over 1 billion Muslims? It's this foundational framework, the 5 pillars of Islam. And this isn't just some dusty old set of rules. It's really the essential blueprint for a life of faith. So let's break down how it all works.
So, take a look at these symbols. Each one represents a core action, a fundamental pillar of Islam. But here's the cool part. Together, they form this complete, integrated system for a life of faith. We're going to explore how each one builds on the other, from a super-personal declaration all the way to a massive global gathering.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the declaration of faith, then we'll move through daily prayers, annual charity, and the yearly fast. And we'll finish up with this ultimate spiritual journey. You'll see this awesome progression, from what you believe in your heart to these profound actions you take in the world.
First up, the Shahada, the declaration of faith. Seriously, this is the absolute cornerstone. Everything else in a Muslim's faith is built right on top of this single powerful statement.
So what is the Shahada? It's this testimony. I bear witness that there is no God but God, and I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of God. I mean, these words are so central they're the first thing whispered to a newborn and, ideally, the very last words on a person's lips. But, there's a really profound depth here. This isn't just something you say once and you're done. No way. It's a lifelong commitment. It means you're choosing God's guidance over your own desires, over what's trendy, over all that external pressure every single day.
So, what does this declaration actually call you to do? Well, it boils down to 3 key things: directing all your worship to the one God, Allah, loving the Prophet Muhammad and really following his example, and staying far away from what's called shirk, which is basically associating partners with God. It's the ultimate commitment to pure monotheism. Okay, so once that foundation is set, we move to the second pillar, Salah, the 5 daily prayers. If the Shahada is the cornerstone, then Salah is like the central pillar holding the whole structure of your faith steady, day in and day out. This is the physical act of prayer, and it's done 5 times a day, at dawn, noon, mid-afternoon, sunset, and at night. Think of it like a constant, direct line of communication, a way to stay grounded and connected, especially when life gets chaotic. It's really helpful to think of these not as a chore, but as 5 scheduled appointments with God. Seriously. Each prayer is like a spiritual reset button. It's a chance to just pause, refocus your heart, and recharge, no matter what's going on around you. And what's the point of it all? Well, it's like a shield that protects you from falling into sin, and it's a cleanser that just wipes away minor mistakes. The Prophet Muhammad used this beautiful analogy. He said, just like bathing 5 times a day leaves no dirt on you, the 5 daily prayers leave no sins. It's all about keeping your spirit alive and clean. All right, so we've talked about that vertical connection with God. Now let's shift to the horizontal connection, the one with humanity. That brings us to the 3rd pillar, zakat, or purifying charity. This is where faith gets translated into real social responsibility. Now, there's a really crucial distinction to make here. Zakat isn't just optional charity or some extra giving. It's understood as a right that the poor and needy have over the wealth of others. It's a firm obligation. The whole philosophy here creates this powerful mindset shift. All wealth is seen as a trust from God, and a specific portion of it, usually about 2.5% of your savings, was actually never yours to begin with. It's designated for the community. And this act purifies the rest of your wealth and helps break the hold of greed.
And this system is super structured. It's not random at all. There are clear rules for who has to give. Basically, anyone whose wealth hits a specific threshold, called the nisab, for a full year. And there are 8 specific categories of people who receive it, all defined in the Quran. This makes sure the support creates a social safety net right where it's needed most.
Okay, next up is the 4th pillar, which is kind of like an annual spiritual boot camp for the soul. This is Saum, the fast during the month of Ramadan, and it's all about intense self-discipline and spiritual reinforcement.
So fasting in Ramadan, on the surface, means no food or drink from dawn until sunset. But that's really just scratching the surface. The true purpose is to train the soul. It's an entire month dedicated to elevating your spiritual state.
So why do it? Well, the why behind it is really an act of supreme devotion. By willingly giving up things you need, you're basically demonstrating that your love for God is greater than your love for your own comfort. The ultimate goal, as the Quran says, is so that you may become righteous. And this is so not a passive thing where you just don't eat. It's a super active process. A person who's fasting is also training themselves to control their temper,
to avoid gossip and harsh words, to protect their eyes and actions. And, at the same time, they're ramping up their acts of worship like reading the Quran and giving charity. It's a total body, total soul experience.
And that brings us to the final pillar, which really represents the summit of a Muslim spiritual life, the Hajj, the sacred pilgrimage to Mecca.
This right here is the Kaaba in Mecca, the focal point of the Hajj. For millions of people, this is truly the journey of a lifetime. It's an obligation that you have to fulfill once, but, and this is key, only if you're physically and financially able to make the trip. What's so incredible is that during Hajj, pilgrims leave behind all their worldly stuff. Their nice clothes, their status, their identity. Men wear just 2 simple, unstitched white cloths. It doesn't matter if you're a CEO or a janitor, rich or poor, everyone stands before God as an equal. It's just this profound act of surrender and a powerful, powerful reminder of our shared humanity.
And I love this part. While the spiritual state is one of total surrender, Islam grounds this profound journey in practical reality. The obligation only kicks in if you're healthy enough for the journey, if you can afford it without going into debt, and if the route itself is safe. It's a perfect balance of spiritual aspiration and worldly common sense.
And so, that's how we bring it all together. You have the declaration, the daily prayer, the annual charity, the annual fast, and that once-in-a-lifetime pilgrimage. See, they're not just separate acts. They're an interconnected, mutually reinforcing structure. They support a Muslim from their very first breath to their last, giving them purpose, connection, and a really clear path. So, we've walked through the what and the why of these 5 pillars. They're a pretty clear guide to action, right? But I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Beyond just the physical acts, how do you think committing to this framework, day after day, year after year, might fundamentally transform a person's inner world, their character, their perspective, everything?